Good afternoon and welcome. This is Brian Terry, and thanks for joining the Disability Digest How to Get Approved for Disability Income webinar. This is a free event, as our membership is free, and I want to thank you for joining or listening to this replay today. Excited to spend a few minutes with you. What we want to cover today is really some of the little-known secrets, resources we have found from industry experts, from thousands of members that have gone through this website and gotten approved, that can ultimately slash months off of your approval time. I'll give you some tips on like who qualifies, what conditions count, how to get started, how to speed up your approval, how to get the maximum check amount, and kind of give you an idea how long it takes to get approved. So those are some of the things that we're going to talk about here today. If you have individual questions, I'll set aside a few moments at the end today to address those. You can just type those in the chat feature and I'll do my best to monitor them for you. So thanks again for joining. The picture on the left-hand side is, well, the person on the right is me, the obvious. The one on the left is my good friend Ika. So it's taken out on Lake Champlain in the summer, and I work hard and do this work so that I can make a difference for people and spend good quality time with my dog and my family. So quickly about the Disability Digest. We've been in business since 2006, and we have been fortunate enough to help over 163,000 people with different aspects of disability. Many of those we've helped get approved. Over 11,800 directly have been approved through the strategy that I'm going to go through here with you today. But a lot of people come to us for job and income information. They're on disability. They want to know if their check is right. They'd like to supplement their income. They want to know how much money they can make, Medicare. And we have all of those resources here at the Disability Digest that you have access to with your membership. And we have a support team. So I've mentioned that it's free. It is free. And we work like public radio or any TV or radio station where we have sponsors, we have advertisements on our website, and it allows us to provide you with the free membership, these events, strategies that work at no cost, because we respect the fact that either going through the disability approval process or being on disability usually has some financial limitations. So that's a little bit about how we work. First of all, I'm going to hit the bullet points here on who qualifies. And a lot of people in the comments that I've read and the conversations that I've had will say, you know, I have X, Y, and Z condition. Do I qualify? And from a condition perspective, it's not the condition or diagnosis necessarily that you have. There's other variables involved. So for example, somebody may have MS, but if they have MS, there's different severity of MS, or fibromyalgia. Some people are just diagnosed and they have you know, a slight case of fibromyalgia, where other people feel like they have the flu 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it's really the severity of the condition that's going to determine who qualifies and if it's preventing you from being able to work. The next piece in qualification is, are you being treated by a doctor? So what Social Security would like to know, or to approve benefits, is that you are you have a condition or conditions that are diagnosed, that are being treated, and you're not getting any better, and it's preventing you from being able to work. So that's the basis for it. The last key qualification point is based on your work history. Social Security disability is a work history related program. It's based on your last 10 years of work. And as a general rule, if you've worked 50% or more of the last 10 years and you've paid FICA tax or Social Security into the Social Security system, then you would meet the criteria. If you haven't, then just reply, or you don't know if you have or would like to know if you have, you can just go to ssa.gov and open a free account, an online account. They used to send statements, but they don't anymore. Or reply to any of the emails that you receive from us, and our support team will help you out. So I've talked about who qualifies, what conditions count, and kind of as a valid disability. Now, there are these categories of so-called listings of impairments, like back and psychological and musculoskeletal and different categories. But again, you need to have a certain degree of severity to trigger what's called a listing with Social Security and get your case approved fast. So here's the next thing about how to get started and a tip on getting approved. To get your Social Security disability benefits approved, I'm just going to put up some statistics here while I talk about this. The numbers for disability approval are not real impressive. And if you look on my screen here, let me see, I think I can get a little marker out, drawing tools. Okay. So if you look here, this shows the percentage of claims approved right here. This is the total number of applicants right here. And this is the percentage of overall approval. Now, if you look back in 2002, they were a little bit more maybe lenient, but it has gone down to 32.6%, 31 over the prior 2 years, and then it was 33.5 up to 41. So point is it's not getting any easier to get your Social Security disability benefits. So the point is you need to really, if you want to get these benefits approved, you need to do them right. And before I get into that, I just want to point out that a lot of people that take a look at the disability process use what my friend attorney Carl Osterhow calls diner wisdom. And they go down to the diner with their brother-in-law and they have coffee or breakfast with him, and he's on disability, and they ask him how he did it, and he says, well, everybody applies first, they get denied, they go and they get an attorney. Well, you can do that, but that's one of the reasons why those statistics are so dismal, and that's what I'm going to go through here with you today. Okay, so I'm done with my drawing and tools. So just really take into consideration the statistics. The other thing is the value of your Social Security disability benefits. Like if you're a 50-year-old that's going to go on disability and you had an average work history, then your benefits are probably going to be worth in cash payments $20,000 a year, plus your Medicare. And you're going to be on benefits until 62 would be the earliest you could take your retirement. Let me see, do my math right? Let me think about this. No, it's more than that. So it's a $1,500 check times 12 months. That's $18,000 if you're on benefits from the time that you are 50 to 62. That's 12 years. That's $216,000. Then from the age 62 to 65, you get paid 40% more on typically as a disability recipient than you would as a retirement recipient. And this is spelled out in your online account. So, for those 4 years, 4 years, you can call that another 40 grand. So let's say it's $250,000. Plus your Medicare, and people take an uneducated guess in going and getting their. Some don't get their disability at all. They get stuck in the system too long. They don't get it approved, and their work credits expired. So I don't want to be a buzzkill here, but I just want to emphasize that doing it right is really what we're all about here, and it doesn't matter to us how you do it. I'm going to show you how you can do it on your own, or you can get some help from us or somebody else if you want. But the point is, to get approved, you got to do it right. Okay, so how to get started. First thing is, you're here, you're listening to this, you're doing it right. Key things are with Social Security in general is that you want to understand how to communicate your condition to Social Security. Most uneducated applicants will just fill out their application saying, I have this X, Y, and Z condition, and I'm not able to work. I've got fibromyalgia, IBS, and I hurt all the time. I just can't work anymore. Well, that's unfortunate and that's accurate, but that's not what they're looking for. So we have resources to help you out, and I'm going to go through that in a minute. So how to get started is make sure that you understand how to communicate your disability situation. And if you're here and you're listening to this and you're not able to work and you have conditions that are severe, you probably did something wrong in your case. That's one thing. Or your case is just one of those unique situations where you've got to get it in front of a judge in order to get approved. But if you do things right at the very beginning, people that are entitled to it, the system does work. Okay, so to speed up the approval process, we have different tools here to help you do that, and there's so many steps along the way. And just kind of speak in general terms. If you're first getting started and applying for Social Security disability, then the key is you're going to follow the steps that I'm going to go through with you here today, the two-step process that's below. If you're beyond that and you've applied and you've been denied, then I would follow the directions to reach out to one of the advocates here that I'm going to share with you how you can get free live assistance to find out what went wrong and what you can do going forward. Some things that we have that we have to help you there are, for example, let's say you're waiting for a Social Security disability hearing. We have a course, a specific course that helps you understand what to do and what not to do while you're waiting for a Social Security disability hearing. It gives you monthly reminders as to what to be informing your Social Security disability representative, if you have one, and what to be doing about your doctors and your medications along the way. When it gets closer to a hearing, it gives you step-by-step things to do, questions to ask to make sure that your Social Security attorney is on target with what they should be doing for preparation work. It gives you tips on how to speed up the approval process by contacting your senator or your local congressman or government official to get them involved. So courses like that can make a difference and be like an autopilot reminder for you of what to do, and we can get you those, and they are free, no charge, with your membership here. Okay, so it's a few other tips for you. How to maximize your check amount. One of the key things about the check amount is when you're first applying for disability, you are entitled to a back benefit check. And you can go back as far as 17 months. If you've been out of work for that entire time, you can collect up to 17 months of back benefits. So, and maybe you worked for part of that time, and there was on-off cycles, but a good, a good representative, if you will, could take a look at your medical records and understand when you were truly disabled based on the medical records, even though you did try to intermittently work, and could go back and target that time. So if you're the person with the $1,500 check that I used as an example, that's 1,500 times 17. That's $25,000. I've seen people that have, and that carries forward. Once you apply, you can get 17 months back, and then you get all the money going forward until it takes you get approved. I've seen people with, the highest I've seen was 53,300 when they got approved. So make sure that you pinpoint what they call the onset date in your application and roll that back as far as you can go. so that you can do that. And the other thing, tip is to apply as soon as possible, as soon as you know that you cannot go back to work, or think that you can go back to work. And the reason for that is your benefits do expire. As a, you know, if as a benchmark, if you've been out of work for 5 months or more, or 5 months, 5 years or more, then your benefits could expire. They could have expired. Or an unfortunate thing that we see a lot is stay-at-home moms. They stay home to raise kids. They're working harder than most people taking care of kids, but they're not paying into the Social Security system. So unfortunately, what that does is it puts zeros in their earnings record. So just make sure that you apply before your benefits expire and get the maximum amount of time. Okay. How long does it take to get approved? There's some general criteria that I'll give you, because each state has its own Social Security disability entity, volume of applicants, and associated backlog. So for example, the state of California, if somebody applies for their benefits there, they will, once the application is in the system, could be 12 months before they get an answer. Some other states are a bit quicker. They're in the 5 or 6 month range. That's pretty common actually, and where they try to be. So if you just put an application in the system, then what you want to do is expect to have that time frame, or do a little research and find out from whoever is working with you on your case what the estimated time is to receive an answer. And the national average is like 32% of those cases get approved at the initial application. Again, you got to do it right. So that'll give you a general idea. If it doesn't get approved there, all except 10 states have what's called a reconsideration appeal. And the reconsideration is basically a joke, because there's only like 11% of the cases that get approved at this reconsideration level. But for all except 10 states, it is a necessary part of the process, and that's another 8 to 10 months to get a reconsideration decision. So if it doesn't get approved at reconsideration, or if you're in one of those 10 states where they don't have it, then your case is going to go to a hearing in front of an administrative law judge, a Social Security judge, that will hear your case, review your medicals, and make a determination if you are disabled. So the wait for a hearing from the point that you appeal for a hearing is on average around 24 months. So let's add it up. If you get a denied at initial, let's call that 6 months, another month to appeal, that's 7. If you have a reconsideration, that could be another 8, that's 15. And then you have a wait for a hearing, which is another 24. So it could be 35 to 39 months, you know, in my example here. This is not gospel. This is just general criteria. Don't hold me to anything. But you're here for general information, and that's what I'm providing you. Okay, so I've covered some of the key areas for you in a broad sense, and what I'm going to do now is I want to walk you through the resources that we have here to help you, and I'm going to point out a few key things that will make a difference in your case. We have a 2-step disability approval process that's free, and it's helped over 11,000 people get approved. The first step is we have a Social Security disability mini course that has been put together. It's got 9 lessons, teaches you how to apply for your benefits or advance your case if you've been denied. So what I'm going to do here is I'll just show you a little bit about the course. And if you don't have this course, then you can reply to the email here or follow the directions at the end, and we will get it to you. But the course has a general overview interview at the top here with a Social Security disability attorney, Jonathan Ginsburg, very well known. And he goes through the common questions that are asked, like the ones that I covered, but more in detail in a two-part interview, or you can read the PDF. And this really helps you understand how to talk the talk and what to expect. Listen, even if you have somebody working on this case for you, I would take the time to go through and understand the process to make sure that whoever is working on this case for you is on track. All right. I just know enough to know from experience that there are people that represent cases that it would be of your best interest, God forbid you end up with one of them, to make sure that they're doing the right deal. Okay. So it takes you through section 1, working and applying. Can you do it? How much money can you make? If you're working full time, what's that like? How to get your application started. That really wasn't what I wanted to look at here. Oh, okay. How to complete the forms. Now, this is a really powerful course. Anybody that goes through the disability approval process, when they start, they're going to be sent forms about your work history and what you can do on a daily basis. And this is the answers to the test right here. It's an interview with Carl Osterhow. He's an attorney. He's helped over 25,000 disability claimants. And this video right here walks you through page by page, question by question, how to fill these out. It takes the guesswork out of it. And if you don't get these forms right, this is embedded into your case. It will miscommunicate what you can do on a daily basis with your disabilities and what you've done for work, which are the two major criteria that that are looked upon. So that's just an example. And the course continues to take you down all the way through, if you have to go to a hearing, what to do and prepare for that. So this is a how-to course. It's free, once again. All right. So first thing is go through that for wherever you are in your application or approval process. The second step is we have advocates that work here, live advocates, real live people that have, most of them, all of them actually, as of right now, have been through the disability approval process, are on disability, and they work here as a resource for you. You are allowed to have access to them with a respectable amount of time. And they will help you mostly in these 4 areas to help you get approved. They will answer your questions. Everybody's case is different, work history, diagnosis, so there's a lot of uniqueness that we're just not able to address in this high-level type meeting. They will help you get the resources that you need to get approved. Classic example. Somebody's got, here's one. I just had a conversation earlier today. Lady has fibromyalgia, really bad. It's been seeing her general practitioner, but she's really going to need a diagnosis from a rheumatologist. So in order for her to go forward and get her case approved, that's one thing that she was advised to do by a phone conversation. If she hadn't done it, she's probably not going to get approved. Legitimately has the condition. So that's one. Some people need financial assistance. Sometimes if your assets are below $2,000 as an individual or $3,000 as a couple, you can get SSI, which is welfare, but it's a $700 check. It's Medicaid, and those two pieces could be enough to help you survive the wait until you get approved for your Social Security disability. So, and the approval process is a lot quicker because they are amped up actually to review people that are in need, which if your assets are in that category, then you typically are. So those are just 2 examples of the resources that advocates are trained in to help you out with. A lot of people have work-related questions, and really they want to know, like, can they work? They're going to be reluctant to file because they like to work, think they can go back to work. What are the answers to all of those? tips to survive the wait, other tips to survive the wait, and how to apply. Some people don't want to do this on their own. They want to have a Social Security disability representative do it. So our advocate can take a look at it and could see if you would be a valid candidate to at least interview with a disability representative that we could suggest for you. The real key is getting your story straight. The interview with Jonathan Ginsburg is excellent, but an advocate's going to likely ask you a question why you can't work and guide you to the answers to that and how to express your conditions and the right limitations so that you have, what some people call their elevator pitch down. So the strategy here is the mini course. Speak with your advocate to get the resources, get everything in line, find out where you're at, know your options, do that. And then really decide or chart your path to go forward. So the last bonus is we're friendly, free people to pick up the phone and talk to. So if you don't have your advocate's phone number handy and haven't received it, then you can click on this green button. I'll put this link in the chat feature for the meeting, and also it will be available for those of you listening to the replay so that you can speak with your advocate. Actually, I'm going to do that right now. And then there were some other questions that were sent in that I'm going to address here. Let me just get this straight. I'm good at doing one thing at a time. Okay. 1 minute. I just want to get my other list of questions up here. Hang on, folks. I'll be right back with you. Don't run away. All right. What were the questions? Oh, okay. So one of the questions was doctor's support. Like, do you need doctor's support? How do I get doctor's support? Do I, what do you do? So here's a course that we have for doctor's support, and I'm going to put this in the chat feature too. But this is my experience on doctor's support. It's nice to have doctor support. It really is, when your doctor is willing to put in writing in the right format that you've been treated for this period of time and your condition has these limitations caused on you and you're not able to work. I mean, that's a real zinger. And you may be seeing a doctor that all of that is very true, but the doctor does not want to cooperate. That's a common thing. And the reason for that is two common reasons. One is people just have a political platform that they don't want to support disability, or they don't want to do the extra work. Actually, I've got more than two. One of the other ones is they don't understand what it is like to be you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, when they're just seeing you for 12 minutes in the doctor's office for a checkup. So they don't understand your limitations and the severity of them. That maybe you can't sleep at night. When you get up during the day, you're in so much pain and you got to take a bunch of medication and you're going back to work or back to bed at 10:30. So anyway, if you can get it, great. The best way to do it is to have the doctors fill out the right forms, and there actually are residual functional capacity forms that are on this website down here that are linked on this lesson. And you can print those out, bring them into your doctor, and ask them to fill them out. Now, if your doctor says, listen, I don't fill out paperwork, I don't do any of that, then what I would do is, not everybody's comfortable with this, but I suggest that you give it a whirl if you are, is fill it out for them and bring it in and ask them to sign it. And if they say, no, I don't want to sign it, then I've had people say, well, listen, you know what, you've been treating me and this is my condition and this is how long you've been treating me and these are my limitations. If you're not willing to acknowledge them, then you can get another doctor, or you can, just say I'm going to be upset with you. You do whatever you like, but fill it out. I mean, this is your financial situation that is really, and this is a key part of it. If you're not able to get any doctor's support, then your case is likely going to go to hearing, and because it really has a very large impact on initial applications, in my opinion. And if it goes to hearing, then there's medical records that are there. And if the doctor's kept good medical records, or if the good medical records are reviewed really good in the beginning of your case, then by the state worker, then you can get approved. Okay, so there was another question about working and applying, and this is the last one I'm going to have time for today, so I'll address that. And as far as working and applying for disability benefits, which is lesson 1A in the mini course, you can work and apply for Social Security disability and earn up to $1,080 a month. I might be 10% off on that number, but I'm not 20% off. However, here's the situation with those cases where people are working and earning money and they're filing an application for disability claiming that they are not able to work, has this kind of contradicting type thing where Social Security, it just gives them the ability to open up that argument by saying, well, if you had a different job with reasonable accommodations, then maybe you could work full time, or if you took a different medication or had better treatment, or so it just does. But I'm just explaining the regulations. Cases have been approved, people working, certainly. So that's one thing. Now, the other side of it is if you work and you're really giving a solid effort, like you've been out of work for a while and you go back to work for a couple of months, and whether it's part-time or full-time, and you're really trying to make it work, and then you have to stop, and then you have your application going, or you don't have your application going, that's called a failed work attempt, and that actually could be credible evidence for your case. Okay. Last thing I'll bring up before I have to sign off for today is a lot of people look at going through the approval process and they're like, I'm going to miss working and all that. And perhaps these individuals will never work again. But I just want to say that you can work and supplement your Social Security disability. You can earn slightly over $800 a month now and have no impact on your benefits. It's totally legal. And actually, most of this business is run by individuals that are on disability. They do fantastic work. No way I could do this without them. And this has been a great way for them to supplement their income. So you can do that, and I encourage people to have that mindset. For me personally, my take is if you're going to go through the process, it's just a step, and you find what you can do, whether it's working or whether it's volunteer work, or maybe it's gradually going back to work full time. I don't know, but unless you're moving forward with some type of mindset, you're not moving forward, you're going backwards. So do the best you can with your mindset on that. So that's the conclusion of today's presentation. I want to thank all of you that are attending and listening to the replay for being members. First of all, it's your membership here, although it's a free membership, that makes this work, because the more members we have, the more sponsorship dollars we can attract from our sponsors, and that means the more money we can generate, and with that, the better resources we can have, and the more people that we can have working here supplementing their income. So recycling money. So I thank you for being a member and listening. If you know somebody that we can help, we would love to have the referral for that very same reason. TheDisabilityDigest.com, THE, then the word disability, then the word digest.com. Google it, find us on Facebook. We're out there everywhere. We'd love to have somebody come on in and help us out. So if you have questions, you can just reply to the invite from today. Oh, one thing I forgot, the big green button. Before I go today, there's a big green button on this page that says click now to speak with your advocate. Just click this and it will prompt you to fill out a form where you can request to speak with your advocate. You'll be emailed their phone number and contact information, and just pay attention to their hours that they work that are on the email and what their phone number is, and do your best to call within that time frame so that you can get in touch with them. So anyway, thanks again. This has been Brian Terrian. Make it a great day, and I look forward to hearing your disability approval success story. Thank you.